We're at the Carter Center, and we were wondering how you feel Jimmy Carter is perceived in France and elsewhere in the French-speaking world.
Oh, he is very well perceived as a man of great experience that is very helpful in trying to solve some of the many difficult crises we are facing today in the world. Either be Darfur or some other places in Latin America. He has shown that through his great experience he could bring a very important contribution to the different solutions we're trying to find for those conflicts.
Do you think he is known by the man in the street, so to speak?
Oh yes, like every former president in your country, he has brought a lot of experience, of course, and he is very well known still in France. They know him very well. Mm-hmm.
Would French people generally be following his work in Africa?
In Africa, I think so. Recently in the Darfur and Sudan affair issue, he has been with some other elder statesmen, and and certainly in the French government we know him very well, but I think the man in the street also knows about what he's doing.
Do you think that his involvement with this elders group is a positive for helping to solve some of the world's problems, or does it interfere with established institutions?
No, it helps, because we all know that the solution to those problems can only be a political solution. And if you take, for instance, Sudan at the present moment, we have to convince the different political parties who are all over the place to come together and to gather around the table of negotiations. And there all the goodwills are really necessary and really useful. So if you could have at the same time initiative by the public governments in Europe, in the United States, in the African continent, but also if you can have the help of people who have a lot of experience, who have shown in the past that they were able to help, then so be it. As much efforts as we can have is a good thing.
Do you think that President Chirac will adopt a similar role?
I don't know yet. I mean, he's just, starting his new life, and we have to let him decide what he will do.
There have been a number of initiatives that have brought the United States and France closer together. One that we're aware of in Atlanta is the Francophonie events. Have you heard much about them in your new role, and will you be supporting them?
I'm just starting, so that you must let me have some time to look at everything. But on Francophonie, certainly, we want to improve the spreading of the French language and people talking more and more French. We think that the French language is still a language that has some future in front of him, and we want to work on this. And all the different events we can do, the classes that we can open here in Atlanta and all over the United States, all this is an issue on which I intend to work a lot.
In view of France's long-term involvement in Africa, do you think that France and the United States should work closely in solving some of the political and humanitarian problems?
Yes. As I was telling before, all the contributions are welcome in a continent like Africa, where we have many problems, public health problem. We just talk about it here in the Carter Center, and I was very much impressed by the presentations that were given to me. So on health, there's no doubt about it, on education, but also on the political solution to the different crises. You name it, Sudan, Chad, Ivory Coast, etc. There's a lot of work to do, and so all the contributions are welcome.
One of the established ways of bringing Atlantans and French people together is through sister city relations. Atlanta's sister city is Toulouse. Do you find these important relationships, and do you think that in the future they can have added value?
Now, first of all, let me rejoice that you pick up Toulouse as your sister city, because Toulouse is a very dynamic city in France, working a lot in the aircraft industry sector. So there is a lot of common situation as Atlanta. And I think this kind of relation is a very interesting one, because it is done at the local level, and it can be very concrete and practical. And I think this is really the kind of relationship we should try to develop as much as possible in the future.
The celebrations of Lafayette that are going on now are also applied to Georgia, because he traveled through Georgia, and even LaGrange is named after his farm. Has this been an event that has helped you in assuming your new position?
Absolutely. I just arrived 1 week before the 6th of September, which is the birthday anniversary of the Marquis de Lafayette. And I think he is a true, genuine testimony to the kind of relation and friendship that exists between our two countries. I always remind the people to whom I talk that Lafayette came for the first time in the United States, what would become the United States, when he was 19 years old, which is quite impressive, that a young man of France could come and through generosity and through a vision of the future, could come and offer his help to what would become the United States. So I think this is the best example of the kind of cooperation we should have between our two countries. So I was very happy to be there, just there at the beginning. In fact, the first real celebration I did as soon as I arrived was precisely to launch the 250th anniversary of the birth of Marquis de Lafayette. And I think this is going to go on for nearly all next year, so I'm very happy with that.
In view of the cooperation that Lafayette symbolizes, what is your best hope for the future of Iraq?
Well, the first thing is, at least in French opinion, it's to find a political solution to that crisis. In other words, to convince the different political parties and the different communities in Iraq to sit around a table and work for the national reconciliation. That will take time, no doubt, because we're still very far away from that. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to work on this slowly, patiently, trying to convince through the meetings we can have with the different community, through the United Nations, through the countries of the area, to try to find the right way to proceed with that. It will take time, as I was just saying. The different communities are still very much apart, but I think with goodwill on behalf of everybody, we should try to work into that direction.
And you see working in partnership?
In partnership, of course, with all the countries that are ready to help. As I was telling, the countries of the area, whether it be Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, others, will play a major part, because they are the neighbors of Iraq and they know what should be done, and they know how difficult it is going to be, but they know also how important it is to help Iraq to find a solution towards unity, independence, and national reconciliation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.